Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. And I wanted to start off with Happy Tag Tuesday. Yes, it's Tag Tuesday, and I have a tag all prepared here. I got all my questions and answers all kind of wrote out, and I'm a little behind on this. This was a tag that was created by Garreth over at bookssongsandothermagic, and it seemed like last week when I got back from church camp, I was watching videos early in the week, and this one kind of caught fire with everybody, and a whole bunch of people did this. I watched 3 or 4 different versions of it, and it's the Muppet Book Tag, and this book tag all goes back to Gareth's love for the Muppets when he was just a wee little lad, and he came up with an excellent tag for that, and I wanted to participate. It's not that hard to participate in, so if you find yourself needing a tag and you know your Muppets and you read a little bit, be sure to do this tag and show Gareth a little bit of love and show him that what he does matters. So anyway, this is the Muppet tag, and I'll go ahead and go through my list of questions or prompts and show you the books that I found that match up pretty well with this. So the number one question or prompt on here is Kermit. And you guys all know Kermit the Frog. He was one of my favorites on the Muppets. It says, name a book with a great leader, because, Kermit was a great leader of the Muppets. And so for this one, I chose 2 books for 2 of my favorite people to read about in American history. And the first one is Theodore Roosevelt. What a great leader. He was a man who brought reform to and was a progressive and fixed a lot of things in the United States. I'm not saying he was a perfect man, because he had his faults, but he did a lot of stuff during his presidency, and very impressive stuff that nobody else really wanted to do. He stood up to big business and looked out for the little man for the most part. And but anyway, I chose Edmund Morris's first book in this trilogy on Theodore Roosevelt, and this one's The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt. And this one, winner of the Pulitzer Prize. Highly, highly, highly recommend this book. This was an awesome reading experience. Like I said, it's a trilogy. I've read the first one, and I want to say I read the second one. I'm pretty sure I read the second one. I just need to get to the third one, which I have all those in the shelves up above there. But highly recommend those. If you've never read about Theodore Roosevelt, this is an excellent place to start. It's very detailed, very entertaining. Morris is a great storyteller, has a great narrative going. I know Steve Donahue a while back was talking about Edmund Morris's book here, and he had a lot of good things to say about it as well. But Theodore Roosevelt, and this is focusing obviously early in his life, overcoming some of his health complications. He had asthma and had some health complications. But he was able to get into rigorous exercise and was able to overcome some of those challenges. Of course, his family had money, so he had a great education. He became a prolific writer. He went out west. He was a big game hunter, went out west. He had a ranch in the Dakotas. Talks about him running for office in the state of New York, had a bunch of state politics, and then eventually becomes, he gets involved with the Rough Riders in the Spanish-American War, and then becomes a vice president of the United States under William McKinley. And I want to say that's where this book left off, was when he became right when McKinley's killed. Yeah, it's right at his death, and he's becoming president. And then book 2 takes over through his presidency. Excellent books, excellent leader. And of course, we cannot talk about a great leader and leadership in American history without talking about my man, Abraham Lincoln. 16th President of the United States, a great American statesman. This book here, this particular volume, is a 10-volume, this is volume 1 of a 10-volume set by John Hay and John Nicolay, who were his personal secretaries. And this was an awesome reading experience. It's from the 1800s, so a little bit of writing style differences, but still really, really good. I have, what do I have? The first couple in this series, and I think I have book 3 on my books to buy list on my phone, and so just waiting to try to find it cheap. If I can do it without paying full price, I'm a cheapo. But anyway, Abraham Lincoln, I don't think I really even need to say much about him. Great leader in American history. All right, so question number 2 in the Muppet Book Tag. Fozzie Bear says, name a book that makes you laugh. Now, there's a lot of books that make me laugh. I find comedy and humor in a lot of things. That's just my natural, that's just how I am. I like to laugh. It's much easier to laugh than to be sad and cry. So I picked a series of books, and there's going to be a few of these that I'm talking about an entire series, kind of like that Abraham, Lincoln, the 10-book series, the Roosevelt, the 3 volumes. This one is the Richard Castle books. This particular one's Stormfront, Derek Storm thriller. Of course, Richard Castle, the actor Nathan Fillion, and that his name, I think, off of the TV, and he had the TV show Castle, where he's a writer that joins the New York Police Department and follows around Nikki Heat and learns what it's like so he can write crime fiction. Anyway, that's kind of the whole point. And then the Derek Storm novels as a second series of books. So he had the Nikki Heat and then the Derek Storm. But they are absolutely funny. They've got some side characters. Castle's character's funny in itself, but then they've got some side characters, Ochoa, and I got to find their names. I'm sorry. It's the two side detectives, and maybe this is the wrong series. Maybe I needed the Nikki Heat series for this. I think I did. I think I needed the Nikki Heat. But anyway, Richard Castle books have always got a little bit of humor in them. I love the TV show, and I like The Rookie, his TV show that he does now, another cop drama. Well, kind of drama. It's probably more comedy. But anyway, love those books. Excuse me. Oh, dropped my paper. So fun cast of characters that makes me smile. All right, question number 3. Animal. You guys remember Animal. He's the crazy guy on Muppets. Says, name a book that is unpredictable, much like Animal. And the one that I chose was an Agatha Christie book, The Murder on the Orient Express. Very, very interesting book. And I got to be careful how I say this because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it kept me guessing clear to the end, and I still didn't get it right at the end. It was definitely unpredictable. She lays out a murder, and she's got her, and I can't remember how many people could have been the murderer, 10 or 12 people. I can't remember what it was exactly. Well, hang on. Is it 12? Yeah, I think it may be 12 people, a dozen, and you won't guess it till the very, very end. It was very, very well done. I also love the movie that went with this, the newer version. I haven't seen the older ones. They're probably good too, but I've only seen the newer one with, is it Ian McGregor? Is that his name? Did a wonderful job as Hercule Poirot. But yeah, good, unpredictable book. Statler and Waldorf, number 4. Statler and Waldorf. And it says, name a book that had to win you over. And the book that I chose is a classic in literature that everyone loved except me until now. And that is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And I like the movie. I like the movie, The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings series. I love those movies, but I have always struggled with the books. And I had a teacher friend who had told me, you need to give it another try. You need to really try and make this work because it's a really good book. It's one of his favorites. And so I did, and I slowed down and I went through it again. And for whatever reason, I was able to read it. and I loved it. It was a great, great adventure story. And so, yeah, loved the Hobbit. It had to win me over. It took, I think this is like the fourth time reading it for me to figure things out. All right, number 5, Ernie. I liked Bert and Ernie. They were probably my favorites on Sesame Street, Bert and Ernie. Great characters. So Ernie, name a character that is innocent or naive or both. And so I picked a book that I am currently reading with my daughter. This is The Hedgehog of Oz by Corey Leonardo. And my character that's the innocent one is the hedgehog here. I got to remember their names. Marcel the hedgehog. And he's got a sad story where, you know, he was abandoned by owners and he ended up living in this movie house. And every Saturday they played The Wizard of Oz. And so the whole story is like a replay on The Wizard of Oz, only it's the Hedgehog of Oz, and he's trying to return back to the movie theater. Gets dumped out in the countryside, and he meets a lovable cast of characters along the way. My favorite's probably the grumpy old man, the squirrel here. But anyway, the story is showing connections to The Wizard of Oz, and it's unraveling Marcel's story and just how lovable and innocent he was and how troubled his past was. And you just feel sorry for this lovable character. But we're not done with it. We're halfway or so through the book, my daughter and I. We've been reading that one before bed, a chapter before bed. We should have it done before school. That's our goal. All right, so number 6. Gonzo the Great. Name a book that defies simple genre definitions. And so for me, I picked The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. I have this old Dover thrift edition, Dover copy, where they cram a whole lot into a little space to bring down the cost of printing and make these cheap and affordable, $3 book. But I liked the story. It was definitely interesting. I did not like it as much as I liked, what was his other one? I got to think here. What was H.G. Wells? Not The War of the Worlds. I didn't like that one. It was The Time Machine. I love The Time Machine. I liked this one also. Not quite as much, but I still liked it. But I said this defied genre definitions because it's obviously sci-fi, but it also gets into some philosophical fiction because it hits on a lot of philosophical ideas. Do you play God and try to take the best parts of animals and combine them all together and do like a Frankenstein animal and everything? So, you know, it's got some science fiction, but it's also that philosophical thing. Should humans try to play God? Let's see. Number 7, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew. This was a favorite character of Garreth's on the Muppet Book Tag. Sorry, having brain issues here. It says, name a book with a great concept. That's the Dr. Bunsen Honeydew. Name a book with a great concept. Now, for me, I picked a couple of different series of books. And first of all, Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot series. And I grabbed the Mysterious Affair at Styles. That was a really good one. It was one of the first ones. If not the first one, it was one of the first ones. I can't remember if it was the first. But just excellent series of books. The buildup of this character and his sidekick. What's his sidekick's name? Hercule Poirot's the main character, and Hastings. Yeah, Hastings. His sidekick Hastings. Wonderful series of books. Excellent concept. And then the other one is also Agatha Christie, and that's the Miss Marples. And I owe this, I'm going to say a love of Agatha Christie overall, but started off with Miss Marple. I owe that to Peg at the History Shelf because she was doing her Marple a month, and I was really, really enjoying those that series of videos she did when her and Martine were reading one of the Marples every month, and then, you know, reviewing not just the book but then the movies. But I love the idea of the old woman who nobody really pays attention to, but is able to answer all of the questions and solve all the mysteries. Absolutely love it. So that is my answers for those. Drop my paper again. Number 8, Dr. Teeth. Name a character that lights up the scene and makes you smile. I picked book 1. It's another series, but it's the Hardy Boys. The Tower Treasure is the first one by Frank W. Dixon, and I've been reading these. These are just like candy in an afternoon, you know, when you're sitting on the couch and it's raining like it is now, and you just sit and you just start reading for the fun of it. And I've been reading these, and I've also been reading the Nancy Drew mysteries because I want to start recommending these to my middle school kids. Yes, they're older stories, but they're still a lot of fun. But anyway, the Dr. Teeth character here, the one that lights up the scene and makes you smile, is their sidekick, Chet Morton. Chet Morton is just this lovable teddy bear of a guy. He's a football guy, a little bit heavier guy, and there's always, you know, wisecracks going back and forth with him. And he's just got this lovable character. He falls in love with all these different ideas. He wants to. I want to be a race car driver. I want to fly airplanes. I want to do this. I want to do that. And the Hardy Boys are always kind of, okay, Chet. And I like Chet. I think Chet's a fun character throughout this series of books. Rowlf the Dog. Name a character that's laid back and copes with the chaos around them. This is question number 9. And I chose Benjamin Franklin. And I picked out H.W. Brands' The First American, Life and Times of Benjamin Franklin. I think Benjamin Franklin is that guy that's calm, cool, and collected, and he held the entire revolution together with the various things that he was able to accomplish. You know, he wasn't a general, he wasn't president of anything, but all of the other stuff that he did made everything happen, and I really appreciate him. He was the calm, cool, collected guy. He wasn't uptight about anything, and he got the job done. Excellent American. And this book in particular, I wanted to point out, the prologue is absolutely awesome. It's this classic scene, January 29th, 1774, where the House of Commons and the Privy Council, everybody's mad at Benjamin Franklin, and he gets called by Alexander Wedderburn. He gets called into the cockpit, which is where they used to fight roosters, right? Cockfights, and they have all these people in there for basically a meeting, and Franklin's trying to find some middle ground between where the colonies are and where the British are, and trying to prevent war. And Alexander Wedderburn, the Solicitor General, is that his name or his title? I mean, he's the head lawyer basically for the government. He basically drags him over the coals. He calls him every name in the book. He's extremely rude, disrespectful to Benjamin Franklin, and Benjamin Franklin has that ultimate calm, cool, collected moment where he just sits there and takes it. Never makes a face, never says a word back. And it's at that moment that he becomes the first American. He turns his back on Britain. Wedderburn probably did the worst thing that could have been done in British diplomacy at that point, which was to alienate Benjamin Franklin, who was the number one fan of the British. He could have held things together if given the chance, but it got ruined. But anyway, love that book. I love the prologue. I use that prologue in my 8th grade class when we introduce Benjamin Franklin. We read through that. Really good. Highly recommend that book. And then the last one, number 10, The Muppets. Name a book with a great found family. In other words, you know, you're bringing together a whole bunch of different people into a family setting. And what I did was I went and found, and you guys have heard me rave on these. I think they're awesome. The Ghost series, or the Track series. The first one's Ghost. And this is by Jason Reynolds. And it's about a bunch of inner city kids who are facing all kinds of issues that kids face. They all are on this track team. This track coach is kind of acting like the father figure to hold it all together, and he is taking them and working them through all of their various problems, whether it's health problems, economic problems, just all of the stuff that kids go through that a lot of writers are afraid to talk about. Now all of the characters in here, they are, this is centered around the African American community within the inner city, and so sometimes those issues never get wrote about. And I thought he did a magnificent job, starting with Ghost and then working through, writing about the problems that kids face in today's world. That was Jason Reynolds in his Track series. Absolutely awesome books for the middle grade. If you're wondering what age level, it's middle grade. But anyway, we'll wrap this up, BookTube. This has been the Muppet Book Tag, put together by Garreth over at Book Songs and Other Magic. I'll leave a link to his channel and to the original video down in the show notes. I invite everybody to do this. If you were not one of the many people who did this last Tuesday, I invite you to do this. It was a fun one. It's not real hard. It's pretty easy to find some books that fit these prompts. So thank you for watching, BookTube. Appreciate your time. And until next time, happy reading.